Hey guys, so it looks like we have some really unfortunate news out from Riot Games. Now, normally we're a channel that covers Lost Ark, but I have a lot of close friends at Riot, but also I think that Riot's MMO is also very relevant to all of us who play Lost Ark, so all of this Riot news definitely could have an impact on that roadmap. But we'll get into that a little bit more later in the video. In this message, Riot shares that today they have made the unfortunate decision to eliminate 530 roles globally, which represents about 11% of the people at Riot Games. That is definitely a significant amount of people and definitely not small. So definitely my condolences to everybody who got affected by this round of layoffs. Hopefully you're able to find new jobs very, very soon. But the reasoning why Riot has chosen to do these layoffs is much like a lot of the other big tech companies and a lot of gaming companies with their layoffs recently. As we know, Twitch has had a large layoff recently, as well as Discord. And all of these companies, unfortunately, grew quite quickly over COVID and these past couple of years. And as a result, they have a lot of manpower. And when COVID ended, a lot of the need for this manpower started decreasing. So they needed to cut headcount. So this from everything what I've seen looks like the same exact situation. So reading into this more, they have said that they have a specific message to the rioters, which I have taken a look at, and it's pretty much the same thing as this with a couple of other details. But it looks like at Riot, they are right now saying that we're going back to putting games at the center of everything that we do, with games like League of Legends, Valorant, Teamfight Tactics, and Wild Rift being some of their flagship games. They're prioritizing their teams to focus on these games. Now, interestingly enough, even though they have said that they are putting a focus on these games, it's not like these games didn't get impacted as well. And browsing around on LinkedIn, I found this guy, Greg Killian. So he was one of the people who got impacted by the layoffs. And according to his LinkedIn, he was actually working on Wild Rift. So despite Riot saying that they are focusing on League of Legends, Valorant, Teamfight Tactics, and Wild Rift, it doesn't exactly mean that none of these people in these games, working on these games, got affected or impacted. But going further down into this letter, they talk a little bit about the future of some of their games and some of their projects. So, of course, they're focusing their efforts on these games, and it looks like they're also continuing to focus on their esports efforts and their entertainment efforts with things like KDA and Arcane. Those are areas that they're going to focus on. Looking a little bit forward, specifically around their games, they talked about a specific game here. They called out Project L. Now, Project L, they say, has been making great progress, and we're looking forward for more opportunities for you to try out this game. So it looks like they're continuing full steam ahead with Project L, but the games that they are talking about that got impacted by this change, and not necessarily by the layoffs, but just going forward, are Legends of Runeterra and Riot Forge. Now, they talk about how Legends of Runeterra has faced some financial challenges, namely that they're just not making enough money to support this game. So going forward, they are going to be focusing on the Path of the Champions, which is the PvE side of Legends of Runeterra, and they're no longer going to be focusing on it as a multiplayer game. And in addition to that, they talk about Riot Forge being the other area that they are going to be shutting down. Riot Forge, if you guys don't know, is basically Riot's efforts to outsource their game ideas to other smaller development studios to develop kind of these single-player experiences. Now, looking at the games, they have games like Rune King, Hextech Mayhem, Song of Nunu, Convergence, The Mage Seeker, and the upcoming game Bandletale. Now, they say that Bandletale is going to be the last game that they're going to be releasing with Riot Forge, and that after that, they're no longer going to be supporting Riot Forge in the future. Now, something that I think is interesting is that in the letter to the rioters, actually, they mention that they aren't closing the door entirely on the single player experience games or working with other developers if the right project comes along. But I think honestly this might be a little bit of BS because they said that they're sunsetting Riot Forge. If I were in their shoes, instead of saying sunsetting, I might just say like, oh, we're shifting our focus a bit away from Riot Forge temporarily. Something like that. So I think they might just not ever come out with more single player games, which is also the reason why I think that with Legends of Runeterra, while they're saying that they are just cutting the multiplayer aspect of it and focusing on the PvE side of the game is a single player experience. And given their now new track record of cutting down on their single player experiences, if Legends of Runeterra continues to be just a PvE game, I sadly think that Legends of Runeterra will also be cut in the future. And while they didn't specifically mention that people at these sections of Riot got laid off, I'm sure given that they're cutting back on Runeterra and completely removing Riot Forge, there have been a significant amount of jobs that were affected here as well. But looking specifically into the message that was sent to the rioters, I actually want to take a little bit of a deep dive into what they gave the rioters that got affected. And I would say that in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of layoffs that I've seen within tech companies, within gaming companies, Riot is actually offering a very, very good package to those people who are getting infected. Specifically in the severance pay. If you look at this, we'll offer a minimum of 6 months of salary, which is absolutely insane. To be honest, I have never seen a company give 6 months of severance to such a large number of people in a round of layoffs. Thinking about it this way, the company that I was formerly at only gave a 1 month severance. Google only gave a 3-month severance. Riot is giving a 6-month minimum severance. And that is very, very generous of them. And I think that goes along with the kind of the reputation that I've heard of Riot taking care of their employees very, very well. So while it's definitely unfortunate that these folks are getting laid off, it is very nice of Riot to give them this significant severance package for them leaving and departing the company. And of course, while it is definitely unfortunate that everybody is getting affected, for the players themselves, I am happy to hear that Riot is continuing to focus and putting efforts into their R&D projects, because one of those said R&D projects is the Riot MMO, and as an MMO player, I am very much looking forward to playing that game when it comes out. So that's about it for today. Hopefully you guys learned something while watching this video, and if you want to see more of this type of content from my videos going forward, please let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, please remember to hit the like button, hit the sub button, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace out.